What's going on, everybody? VHS Tacos is back. It's Friday. I had some minor technical issues yesterday. I didn't charge my phone. So we're here today, even though it's alright, because technically it came out today and yesterday. And it's Jungle Cruise with Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt.
Not good.
You can also check it on Disney Plus. We'll get to that in a second.
Don't do it.
So we'll get. Let me get this out of the way first. We saw it in IMAX. I recommend IMAX for the sound. Not so much the picture quality, even though it is a great looking movie. It's very vibrant and colorful in parts, and it is nice to see a lot of the scope on the big screen. It's not necessary, but the sound though, absolutely. Especially when the Metallica cover of Nothing Else Matters kicks in during a flashback. Ooh.
Maybe in Dolby.
You feel it. Oh, Dolby would probably be good.
God, that would literally it would be
So I'm
wild.
going back to the movies right after this. You'll see it in Dolby, and we'll catch you guys after that.
Yeah.
Jungle Cruise, give you a bit of a breakdown. So as you all know, Jungle Cruise is a ride at Disneyland and Disney World. It's a fun ride. They actually did a lot of recent updates to it. We haven't checked it out yet. So the movie itself, though, follows Dwayne Johnson as a skipper, but it then also follows Emily Blunt as this thriving, what would you call her, like an archaeologist or?
No, she even said she's a botanist. She's a
botanist.
Doctor Botanist.
She plays Dr. Botanist. That's the name. Very female Indiana Jones type. And she is after this flower that has wonderful healing properties. That it can cure all the diseases in the world, which at the time of World War I, really the only thing you had to worry about was like polio. So moving on from that, she ends up getting down there to South America. She needs to find, a way to just get down the river. So Dwayne Johnson plays a con man who's running the Jungle Cruise. By the way, the Jungle Cruise sequence, the first time where he takes this group of uppity rich people, he's using all of the jokes on the ride. The backside of water, they threw that in there. And if you guys have been on the boat, you know that's the best dad joke on the planet. It's so great. So he ends up conning his way in, and they end up blowing up the place. Look, things get crazy. There's a bad German dude in a submarine. Things get nuts. Long story short, they end up finding it. Skipper Frank, he's like 300 years old. There's some betrayal thrown in there. This is a good movie, okay? It's very, very similar to the first Pirates of the Caribbean in that there's a lot of lore, there's a lot of mythology, there's a lot of undead folk who were kind of, all gooified based on certain elements and creatures. There's a lot of mysticism, there's a lot of animal pets and friends. Proxima is so much fun. It's a good movie. Like, it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's a thrill ride. It can get intense for kids. I will say that. There's a lot of body horror stuff in here.
I would say so. Yeah.
Especially in the flashback, like I mentioned with Metallica, their version or their Disney version of Nothing Else Matters is a flashback that involves Dwayne Johnson in a wig as he betrays his conquistador friend. And, man, there's some body horror, okay, at night when the jungle is, like, grabbing Edgar and just, like, pulling him in, and it gets nuts. It really does. So if you got, like, little kids, I'd say, probably not.
It might be a little too scary. It might be a little too much.
Yeah, it might be.
It wasn't too much for me because I fell asleep.
She did a couple times, but
it was so boring.
It was not boring.
It was too long.
If you like Pirates of the Caribbean, you'll enjoy this movie. It's
agree
along the same lines of that. It's a very Indiana Jones, Romancing the Stone kind of situation here.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt are fantastic, right? Like they're so lovable, they're so goofy, they have a nice banter back and forth. But the rest of the cast as well, because typically in movies like this, it's like you get the main two leads, and it's like, yes, they are the anchor. They might be the anchor, but then everybody else is the anchor around them. Like, everybody leaves. Everyone leaves an impression.
Yeah, like her brother. Like
her brother, Jack Whitehall, he is
so good.
He is
I think
hilarious.
he was my favorite part of the boring movie.
Then you have Paul Giamatti, who is this.
Oh yeah,
he's this
he might be my
super
favorite part.
badly sunburned Italian business
so
guy who wants money from Dwayne Johnson's Frank. The accent is so thick and over the top. It's fantastic.
It's just,
you have Jesse Plemons, discount Matt Damon for those of you out there, who plays the evil German sub guy, and like his accent
he's a prince.
He's a prince, sure.
That's
his
what they
accent.
said.
Oh yeah, it's Joaquin.
Yeah.
The accent is so thick, and he's having the time of his life playing a German bad guy. I mean,
He does really well. I'm not gonna lie.
His
He's
main
so
introduction
funny.
to our heroes, he literally rolls up in a submarine after he blows up like the port, and then he's like, "Hallöchen!" Like it's so great.
So terrible.
And on these kinds of movies, like in Pirates of the Caribbean, your heroes are only as interesting as the villains. And luckily, we get two. You know, just like in Pirates of the Caribbean, you get a supernatural villain, and then you get a very humanized villain.
Well, you get kind of towards the end. You get like 4, because really,
Well,
like the
primary.
primary. Yeah, well, yeah.
Of course,
yeah.
you know the main bad guys always have their own little minions, right?
Right.
So,
Makes sense.
you know, the flashback that I talked about, it has Edgar Ramirez in it, and he is one of Dwayne Johnson's conquistador buddies from 300 years previous. Well, they ended up finding, you know, the tree of life, and the flowers and the petals on it. So the whole thing is that as long as you have access to water, you still maintain like a human form, and you don't really look weird or different or anything like that. But you can't get too far inland, which is why Frank is based on the water on his boat. Well, he managed to trap Eddie and friends in this whole thing that is blocked off from water. That's where the body horror stuff kicks in. The vines come out, grab them, and like slam them into the wall. It like takes over them.
Yeah, if I was a little kid, I'd be terrified.
Oh yeah, no,
I'm
it's
not gonna
frightening
lie.
for children. But it is some awesome visuals. You get a guy who's made out of mostly snakes, which is Edgar. He has a friend, cohort, or whatever you want to call it, who is mostly made out of like honey and bees, which is disgusting, but then it's hilarious. And then you get to see Jesse Plemons act against a bunch of CGI bees, and it's weird, but it works somehow. And then
the other guy wasn't he a tree or something?
Yeah,
he had
was
the
like,
vines or not vines, but he had like limbs and I don't quite know.
It was weird.
It was almost like a Groot gone bad, or like human version of it. I don't know. It was really. I almost forgot
a Groot gone bad. We can call it that. And you know, visually, you know, like I said, this is a very good-looking movie. It's great seeing it on IMAX, at least just for the size of the screen and the big scope and the visuals and all. The CGI is very good. I didn't really notice anything where I was like, nothing really kind of caught. It's difficult when you do like CGI animals, you know. It's hit or miss because sometimes you just can't replicate the movements well enough. That being said, Proxima, which is Dwayne Johnson's pet, what was it, a cougar?
No,
it was a leopard. It was a pet leopard.
I thought it was a tiger.
No, that was not a tiger. It was a leopard.
I don't know.
Anyways, pet big kitty is so lovable and adorable, which is funny because when it shows up, it goes like right after Frank,
crazy,
and then it attacks him. And you're like, holy shit, is he dead? And then like we see him later on the boat, and he's like, good girl. And it's like, oh,
good job, buddy.
Okay. The movie, it's a lot of fun. It's quick, you know. It's a 2-hour plus movie, but it floats right on by. And the good thing here is that I feel like Disney wants this to be a franchise, but they were smart enough to know we're going to take this movie and we are going to have it have a definitive ending in case it doesn't get a sequel.
True. Yeah, they did kind of give it like a nice, like rounded off.
Yeah, it's kind of like the first Pirates of the Caribbean, like that. You know, when the first Pirates movie ends, like that's it. You know, if there's no sequels, then they give you a satisfying movie.
Yeah, it's okay.
And then from there, they give you just sequels that got weirder and crazier, which is
It's
not a problem, But no, Jungle Cruise though, it's a lot of fun. It's a fun family movie. It's hilarious. Not too young though. Once again, it has a crazy good soundtrack as well from James Newton Howard. The guy has channeled the best parts of John Williams and his stuff from Indiana Jones, as well as mixing in some modern day sensibilities as well. And then of course, you know, I'm not a Metallica fan by any stretch of the imagination, but when their cover comes on during the flashback, I mean, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
And my eyes were closed.
They were. But of course, this is all from Jean-May Colette Serra, the brilliant director who has, I mean, the guy does so much with so little, you know? I mean, he's done a handful of movies with Liam Neeson, like The Commuter and Unknown and Nonstop, but then he also did The Shallows and he did The Orphan. You're
naming off all these terrible movies.
Terrible to you.
I would never.
Terrible to you. He's a great director who gets very inventive. He gets very weird, and it's a Disney movie, so you know what style to expect from a Disney movie. You know, it's just like
Boring.
They don't take risks. But just like Gore Verbinski in the original Pirates of the Caribbean movies, he adds his own flair to it, and it gets crazy. just check it out. Seriously, it's so much fun. Go
see it for yourself.
If I had to rate this, I'm going to just be very generous. I'm not going to go over the top like I usually do. I'm going to give this 15...
Oh my gosh. It wasn't
15 boat tours out of 5. With tacos. Bring your own tacos.
It wasn't that good.
It was great. Mrs. Taco.
2 out of 5. Only because it takes a lot for me to fall asleep at a movie theater. Because, like, I'm already, like, don't touch me. But it was just, like, dragged on. And I feel like some parts, I'm like, they really could have cut that out. Like, I was exhausted. I fell asleep multiple times. I was rocking myself to sleep. Yeah, it was... Yeah,
she started, like... When I noticed her starting to rock, it was during the flashback, so Metallica was almost like, man, she's really jamming out. Then I caught her out of the corner of my eye, and she's just like... And I'm like, okay then. So, we're going to average that out together. That's 2 thumbs up each.
No.
It's a must-see. If you're a Dwayne Johnson fan, if you're an Emily Blunt fan, check this out. If you like Paul Giamatti in small cameos where he has an accent, and then you never hear from him again... in a possible sequel, just like in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, then check this movie out. If you like Pirates of the Caribbean movies, this movie is literally for you.
This is going to be for you.
This is absolutely for you. It's a blast. It's so much fun. That's our view on Jungle Cruise. If you guys have seen it, let us know down in the comments below what you think. I'm very interested because it seems
Did you fall asleep too? Let me know.
It doesn't even matter. And you know what? This has been VHS Tacos. We're signing off, so this one can go take a nap. As I take our card and rent Jungle Cruise so I can watch it. And we will see you guys on the next go-around, the next video, which, if the calendar is to be believed, it is, fingers crossed, a better version of Suicide Squad.
I loved the old one.
Well, as long as Jared Leto's not in this, it's guaranteed to be better. Adios.
Bye.